Welcome to the People's Impact News with your host, Marjorie Kelly, brought to you by the Baton Rouge Weekly Press, a people's publication serving Baton Rouge and surrounding areas.
Good morning, Baton Rouge. I'm Marjorie Kelly, and welcome once again to the People's Impact News. Well, the weather is very nice out. It's still hot, but the humidity is low. And it's going to rain some this weekend, but then it'll be nice all throughout next week, according to the meteorologists. So enjoy the weather while it's nice and not too hot. Okay, today on our front page, President Obama is once again in the news concerning his Obamacare bill. The president alleges that the GOP faction is trying to extort him on health care. Now, President Obama said that he is happy to negotiate with them around the budget, but he doesn't want to create a pattern where the full faith and credit of the United States becomes a bargaining chip. This comes just days before the health care plan is to be implemented. Read more about this story in this week's edition of the Baton Rouge Weekly Press. Next, as we follow up with the story on Syria, Syria turned over materials to Russia which aimed to show that a chemical weapons attack was carried out last month by rebels. A top Russian diplomat visiting Damascus and a Syrian official said on Wednesday that the attack that took place on August 21st precipitated the tension surrounding Syria's chemical weapons. A report by UN investigators confirmed that the weapons were used, but it is unsure of by which side of Syria's civil war. Now, you can also read this entire story in the Baton Rouge Weekly Press this week. A little bit closer to home, the mayor of Monroe, Jamie Mayo, joined a field of candidates for the 5th District congressional seat. This seat is representing Northeast and Central Louisiana. Now, Mayor Mayo is a Democrat who has been in office for 12 years, and he is now one of 6 contenders in the October 19th election. This election will fill the job being vacated by U.S. Representative Rodney Alexander. Okay, Louisiana State Troopers had a big event this past weekend. Louisiana residents turned out for the Troop A Day on Sunday afternoon. State police were joined by law enforcement agents from around the region, as well as other emergency first responders. The agency showed off state-of-the-art equipment as they interacted with visitors and answered their questions. And the entire objective of this activity was to show people how to be safe in hopes that they would go home and put some of the things they learned into practice. So we're really hoping that people got good information at that event and that they will go home and try to put those things into practice. Okay, Southern University announces the new director of development. The new director of development for Southern University is Tanya Freeman. Now, Ms. Freeman comes to the Law Center from the University of Phoenix with more than 9 years of experience as the first manager of business development. And she will be responsible for leading the Law Center's advancement, development, and for developing and maintaining active and productive relationships with alumni donors and university administration. So welcome, Ms. Tanya, to Southern University. A federal judge has ordered a new trial for 5 former New Orleans police officers. These police officers were convicted of a civil rights violation which stemmed from deadly shootings on a bridge in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Now, District Judge Kurt Engelhardt ruled on last week that this highly unusual, extensive, and truly bizarre actions of the prosecutors were enough to throw out the officers' convictions. The attorneys for these 5 men alleges that leaks to a news organization were a part of a secret public relations campaign which deprived their clients of a fair trial. On the home front, this is good news for homeowners in Louisiana. The Habitat for Humanity of Greater Baton Rouge celebrated the building of its 300th home here in the city. Now, Mayor President Kip Holden, along with leaders from both the business and faith communities, helped to raise this construction, which went up in the Scotlandville neighborhood of North Baton Rouge at 1252 Wall Street. These fantastic new homeowners are Norvell and Takira Blackburn, and they are the proud new owners of this beautiful new home. And theirs is a touching, beautiful story that you can read more about in this week's Weekly Press. So don't forget that the Weekly Press comes out every Thursday at a location near you. And you can pick one up to read more in-depth information on most of the stories that we cover here on People's Impact News. So pick up a copy of the Baton Rouge Weekly Press. All right, welcome back. And while we left off on the subject of humanity, there's a commentary that many of you may be interested in that's in the Baton Rouge Weekly Press this week. It's entitled Crimes Against Black Humanity. Now, it talks about the economic crimes that black people commit among themselves. James Klingman talks about the crime of black people allowing ourselves to be economically exploited. This is a very interesting and thought-provoking article for people who would like to think a bit further than what meets the eye. And it was too much to get into, but you need to pick up a copy of the paper and really read this article because it's intriguing. Lots and lots and lots of good information there. All right, in our business news, U.S. lawmakers must cut $2 trillion over a period of the next 10 years in order to stabilize the debt. Now, in order to cut these debt bills significantly, the Congressional Budget Office says that it would take an additional $4 trillion worth of cuts over the next decade. This means that the U.S. public debt would not shrink until 2038. Wow. That's a long time for us to be in debt. Okay, Louisiana, Secretary of Revenue Tim Barfield is on his statewide tour where his discussion is on the topic of tax amnesty. Now, he is looking to launch what they are calling the Fresh Start program. This program will give many people in Louisiana the opportunity to clear their accounts with the Louisiana Department of Revenue. So I think that this story has an impact on lots and lots of Louisianians. So now, this is good news that will hopefully impact a whole bunch of people. All right, because the Baton Rouge Weekly Press wants you safe, we have a lot of good information this week in the paper to encourage you towards living healthier lives. For starters, we continue with food safety. Now, in last week, we told you about food allergies, and we said that most people that have food allergies don't even know that they have them, and this is what makes it so dangerous. Well, this week, we want to continue by telling you a little bit more about how to keep your food safe. Now, all of this is a result of proper storage, preservation, and preparation. The four most important guidelines to keeping food safe are: 1, cleanliness. You should wash your hands and the surfaces where you're preparing food often. Secondly, separation. Don't cross-contaminate, meaning don't mix, your utensils and your food together. Make sure that you separate all of those things. 3, cook to a proper temperature. Make sure that your meats and the things that you cook are cooked fully so that they won't harm you. And finally, chill. Refrigerate promptly. Once you cook it, make sure that you put it up so that it won't spoil in this Louisiana heat. Okay, now, we know that diabetes is on the upswing in our community. An estimated 358,000 Louisianians have diabetes. Wow, that's a big number. But LA Care and AmeriHealth are teaming up in the fight against diabetes. On September the 19th, there will be a boot camp where you can get screenings, educational information, and there'll also be lots of fun physical activity to get your cardio up and just help you be healthy for life. So for more information on this activity, you can contact Michelle Davidson at area code 215-863-6364, or you can contact Michelle by email at mdavidson@amerehealthcaritas.com. Okay, on that same health note, here's some really, really good news. On Wednesday, researchers at Oregon Health and Science University announced an AIDS vaccine that may be able to completely wipe out the AIDS-causing virus from the body. Wow. The vaccine, which will help us to get rid of, hopefully, this deadly, detrimental AIDS virus, is still being tested. Unfortunately, it's only been tested on monkeys to date. But if you want to read more about this and remain hopeful, then you need to read this story in the health section of your Baton Rouge Weekly Press. Okay? Once again, men. That's right, I'm talking to you again. We've been telling you all month. This month is National Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. And this coming week is Take a Loved One to the Doctor Week. So ladies, grab your fella, your daddy, your brother, your hubby, your BFF, and take them in to get checked, because you know they don't want to go without you. The Baton Rouge Weekly Press really cares about you, mind, body, and spirit. So we have told you about the physical health component, And now we want to remind you that you also need to deal with your spirit. So the religious section of our paper is always meant to be uplifting, and you're sure to find something really good for your spirit. Speaking of uplifting things, the church ladies report is always good medicine for the soul. Now, the Bible tells us that laughter is good soul relief. So make sure that you read the church ladies report and catch up with all of your Baton Rouge church news. All right, we're going to station break and we'll be right back. Was that good? Okay, welcome back. Now, before we went to break, I was telling you about the Church Ladies Report. Now, we want you to read the Church Ladies Report because she's going to keep you up to date with all of Baton Rouge's church news. You can also send your church news to theweeklypress@yahoo.com. We want to know what's going on at your church and keep everyone informed. So send us that news, theweeklypress@yahoo.com. Okay, finally, on the sports scene, football in and around the city was awesome this past week. Now, what about those Saints? Now, after a very close call and a game-changing interception by Drew Brees, the Saints were able to recover and bring home a win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a final score of 16-14. Who dat? Harley's late field goal brought the Saints a right-on-time win. Way to go, Saints. All right, I have been waiting to be able to say this for weeks now. Go Jaguars. Finally, Southern University Jaguars have a win. In an over double-time game, the Jaguars defeated the Panthers with a score of 62-59. That's right, 62-59. And the Jaguars had that 62 over 59, making this Southern's first winning game of the season. So keep it up, Jags. We love you. Okay, LSU Tigers also on the winning side. LSU Tigers defeated Kent State with a score of 45-13. That's right, 45-13. So everyone is a winner in our sports corner today. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen this week in football, and we can come back and talk about it. Well, we're just about to end this week's edition of the People's Impact News. But I tell you what, if you don't have anything better to do, on Friday, you need to make your way downtown to Live After 5. That's from 5 to 8. Put on your dancing shoes and your party dress and get downtown and have yourself a really good time. So as always, it's been my pleasure. And remember, you have the ability to make an impact on your life, your community, and your world. Have a great coming week, and I'll see you next time.